Hi everyone. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about abortion. So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of abortion? So first of all, there's something really important that you have to understand about abortion. Is that when some women tend to support abortion, they generally talk about that as it was like their own body. Okay? That this is just about their body. But in reality, it's not the case, because the baby you are carrying has a potential. It will become someone and may even end up being very useful for society. So some people question, so when does the fetus start to have value? Well, at the moment that it exists and will become someone. So people are going to think and imagine and say stuff like, imagine if someone like Adolf Hitler had been aborted, for example. They saw what he became and what he caused in the world. But they don't think about those we were aborted and will have been important for society. Imagine all the babies in history who will have become very useful for humanity. Some of them will have even become geniuses. Of course, you can be sure what your child will become, but you have to make a decision. So, are you willing to take the risk of abortion? Are you willing to take the risk of aborting a baby that could end up being very useful for society? Of course, a baby who is not aborted could also become very harmful to society and cause a lot of problems in the world. But it is generally not the case. So, of course, there are some situations where it is definitely better to have an abortion. So, it is possible to identify if a baby will have Down syndrome, for example, although the science is not perfect. So, in probably the vast majority of cases, these children will suffer and not really be useful for society. They may also die prematurely and develop certain diseases because of their condition. It will probably be better to abort the vast majority of them. Another reason to possibly abort is when the parents in question will not be able to really feed the child. If they are not confident enough that they could give the child up for abortion, adoption, or receive enough help in some other way, it may be better to abort. This is a problem that exists especially in some poor countries. It is also common in some of those countries to not have an abortion. And we end up with children who suffer greatly and even end up dying of starvation. There is also the case where a woman will be raped and will have an abortion, which is perfectly understandable. Though I would like to mention that some women have experienced regret after having an abortion, even in the case of a rape. Their regret was probably related to religion, though. Because religions tend to make us believe that life is sacred. And this may result in some babies not being aborted, who will have been better off being aborted. In rare cases, abortion can save the mother's life, or at least prevent them from having some serious health issues, which will end up being preferable to abort. So in the future, science will probably increase the likelihood of being convinced that a baby in question will develop certain diseases or become more intelligent and useful for society. A decision will have to be made. I see a future where, at least in some countries, there will be fewer abortions. Because I think that some people will actually prefer to not abort just in case that their children could become useful for society. Because right now they don't really understand that. So, for example, I think that more people will probably give their children up for the adoption or place them in some orphanages. And I hope that a lot more orphanages or things like that will be available in the future. Of course, it doesn't mean that I am against a lot of abortions. It's just that it's still something that can be useful, and there's definitely some benefits, but I mean, just think about it. If we could know for sure what everyone that got aborted will have become, just think about it. Only thinking about it, I don't really feel good. Maybe it's better to not know it. But like I said, you will have to make a decision. So it's extremely important to think seriously and ask yourself the question, do you want to take the risk of abortion over the risk of not aborting? Because abortion is also a gamble. After you make your decision, you shouldn't regret it. You should accept it and move on. So, as you can see, the reality of abortion is probably not exactly what you thought. So thanks for watching, and see you in another video.